Welcome to ORCID's Quick Start webinar on Document Management Link. My name is Natalie, and today Anne and I will walk you through configuring Document Management Link for Sage 300 accounts payable in less than 30 minutes. Before we start the clock, let's review a few key points about Document Management Link. Do you need Document Management Link? How do you know you need it? Do your team members and employees need to review files and documents such as purchase orders, contracts, invoices when using Sage 300? Do you still rely on physical documents to support your answering your customer and your vendor queries? If you're aiming for a paperless office, then Document Management Link is a product you should look at. How does it work? Document Management Link, often shortened as DML, provides easy access to essential documents directly from your Sage 300 screen, including third-party modules developed in the Sage 300 SDK. It is cost-effective, simple to set up and use, as we will demonstrate in this presentation. Yet it has powerful configuration options. It provides a fast and tangible return on investment, reducing your paper storage and helping you move to a digital environment. How it works is that you can link documents to screens and companies in Sage 300. You control how and where the documents are displayed without having to duplicate the documents. You can drag and drop from Windows Explorer as well as from Outlook. And that's very easy to do, which we'll show you as well today. It works with many different file and document management systems such as SharePoint and Network File Share. This presentation will focus on Network File Share, but you can configure to a sync drive to OneDrive, Google Drive, or Dropbox as well. The most common implementation for Document Management Link focuses around Sage 300 accounts payable. And in many cases, documents are attached to linked to Sage 300 when you're entering an individual invoice, as you can see in the top box. So we'll show you how to configure that. Also how to configure Document Management Link so that you can view all prior invoices for the vendor that you're working with. And also have a separate box to show vendor contracts, all that when entering AP invoices. We will show you how to then link those AP invoice documents against the AP vendor activity screen and the vendor contracts against the AP vendor screen in Sage 300. So in 20 minutes, we will configure Document Management Link to move away from physical documents for AP transactions. We will watch a video that was recorded in one hit. The only editing has been some callouts and highlighting to support the demonstration. So the clock will start now as soon as we start the video. And as in other webinars, you may have a few seconds delay when we start the video. So bear with us, and I'm going to start the video now. So we'll speak to you in 20 minutes.
In this quick start video, we're going to download, install, and activate Information Manager. And then we're going to check the license to make sure we have some document management user licenses. We'll also check and configure our current user as a Document Management Link user. Then we're going to configure Document Management Link on AP Invoice Entry. We're going to see the vendor invoices and the vendor contracts on the AP Invoice Entry screen. And once we've done that, we're going to configure Document Management Link to view these documents on other AP screens. Specifically, the AP vendor activity, we're going to see the vendor invoices, and on the AP vendor screen, we're going to see the vendor contracts. First, we'll go and download Document Management Link. So after logging into our website, go to the product downloads, select the version you want, and then download the module. So Document Management Link is part of Information Manager. And now we'll install this program. Accept the defaults, fill in our serial number, and activation code if you have it, or activate for 30 days and key your activation code in later. And then we go to the appropriate company and activate Information Manager. In the Information Manager license screen, if you had activated for 30 days, you could at a later stage paste in your activation code. And this is where you see how many document management link users you have, in my case 1. And in the setup area, you would normally set the document management link or tray icon to start for all users, in which case they will get this icon down at the bottom. But for document management link, you need to ensure that the document management link users are selected as ORCID users. So for the AP invoice entry, what we're going to configure is at the top box, we're going to configure to see the individual invoice that you're currently entering. So in this case, IN08899. So I've attached in the screenshot 2 example documents, a MSG file out of Outlook and a PDF file for that invoice. In the middle box, we're going to see all the vendors' invoices. And as you can see, the same invoice is displayed in that middle box as well. And in the bottom box, we're going to store the vendor's contracts. So we're going to do 3 configuration rows for the screen AP invoice entry, which is AP 2100. And the folder that we're going to store it in will be on our C drive, and we'll call it DML 30 AP documents, and we'll have a folder per vendor. So that's the configuration that we want to do, and we're going to go ahead now and set that up. In Information Manager Setup Options, on the Notes DML Extender Hot Tray, this is where we set up the different configuration rows. So the screen, the AP vendor invoice screen is AP 2100. And the display order in the first box, we want to see the individual invoice. So display order 1, we're going to see the individual invoice. And we're linking the individual invoice to 2 fields, the vendor number and the document number. Oh, we want to see a network folder, vendor number, document number, and to save me typing, I'm just going to paste in the documents folder. So we're going to store the documents in DML 30 AP documents. Value will be replaced by the vendor number, so there'll be a folder per vendor number. And value 2 with star.star, we're going to filter all the contents of the vendor's folder for documents that match the document number that's currently open on the screen. We're going to look at files and folders. And when we drag a document in, we're going to rename the document to the value number, which is the value 2 number, which is on the screen our document number. So we're not going to change our tray icon. We're going to show the alert, and we're going to label the first box individual invoice. So that's the first row. Is going to be our individual invoice. Our second row is going to be all the vendor invoices. So still the AP 2100 screen. We'll just work on the details zoom. So this is a network folder, AP2100. Of field that we're linking it to is the vendor number, and we're going to construct our folder to be DML30 AP documents and then our vendor number. So this value will be replaced by the current vendor number. We want to see files and folders within that. We don't want to change the tray icon. We want to show the alert, and this one we're going to label all invoices. And the third row that we want to see for AP2100 are the vendor contracts. They're going to be linked to the vendor number. Again, it's going to be a network folder. We're going to link it to the vendor number. Again, we're going to put the same path in here. But this time, within the vendor number folder, we're going to have a folder called contracts. We're going to show all the files and folders. We're not going to change the tray icon. Show alert, and we're going to title this box contracts. So those are our three configuration rows. Save and close this screen. And whenever you do any changes to your tray configuration, you need to refresh your tray icon. And now we can go to AP Invoice Entry and see if our configuration is working. First, I'm going to open an existing batch. And you can see the document management link icon showing us that a configuration has been done for this particular screen, AP2100, and we've got the individual invoice for vendor 1200 invoice IN0630, which is the invoice number here. Here we see all the invoices for 1200, and here we see the vendor's contracts. So if we were to drag a document in to associate it with the invoice 0630, we could drag that in straight from the network drive, but I can also drag it in from my emails if I want. So if I have a PDF attached in my email, I can click on it and drag it out. And because I renamed the file based on the document number that is visible in this particular screen, IN0630, that PDF has been renamed to IN0630. And if I wanted to keep track of the whole email, I could drag in the email as well. And now it's giving me the same IN0630, but I'm getting the entire message file there. And I could double click on that, which would open this email client and the email with the attachment, or I could save the attachment separately as I have done. If we create a new batch, also for vendor 1200, and give it a document number, we can drag and drop, as we saw from Outlook. We can also drag and drop from our network. So if we had previously scanned in the document, we could drag and drop a scanned document from there into the folder, and as we saw before, it's been relabeled INV 123456. And I can also drag in a contract if I want as well. In our contract, we didn't say to rename the file, so it will be still the same file name as what we have here. So if I drag in 1200 contract, it's still going to be called 1200 contract. So we've seen how to configure document management link to, in this particular case, show us associated with the invoice, AP invoice entry screen, vendor number and document number. We see the individual document. In the all invoices, we see all the documents we've associated so far with this particular vendor. And because I said files and folders, I'm seeing the contracts folder. So I could double click there to see the contracts, but I've chosen to show the contracts here as well. And by dragging in those documents, this DML folder was created, and within that the AP documents folder, and then the 1200 with the invoices that we attached, and the contracts folders within vendor 1200's folder with the contract document. So the next configuration we're going to do is around the AP vendor activity, which is the AP 1500 screen. We want to see those same two boxes. So for our posted transactions, we also want to see the individual document in the top box, and we want to see all the vendor's documents in the middle box. So this will be two configuration rows for the AP 1500 screen in a similar way as what we did for the AP invoice entry. For the configuration around the vendor activity, the first thing I need to know is the program ID or roto ID, which is AP 1500. And then we need to know the field labels against which we're configuring. So the vendor number field is called vendor NO full stop. And the invoice number field is called document number. So this is the information that I need to do the configuration. I also need to know the folder where these documents are stored. So I'm just going to copy from the folder that was created in the previous exercise. And in Information Manager options, I'm going to add two new rows. AP 1500. The first configuration row is going to show us the vendor number and document number. So for AP 1500, vendor no full stop, document number. The directory we're going to show is the DML 30 AP documents, then it's the vendor number, and then we're going to filter for the document number. So all documents starting with value 2, which is the document number. We're going to show files and folders. We're not going to do any renaming because we're not dragging from the screen, but we could. And we're not going to change the tray icon. We're going to show alert and call this one individual document. And insert one more row. And this is the second box, just associated with the vendor number. And in this case, we're going to show all the files and folders in the vendor number folder. Save our options, refresh the tray icon. And now when we go to the vendor activity screen, for vendor 1200, we see all the vendor's documents, and when we highlight the individual document, it will be highlighted in the first box. And from here we can right-hand mouse button and send an email, and it will attach that document to an email and let us fill in the details. And we can also double click to open up any of these associated documents, and it will use the default program associated with the file type that you've double-clicked on to view the associated document. And the final configuration we're going to do is on the AP vendor. So the vendor screen is AP 1200, and on this particular screen we're going to configure to see just the contracts. First we need to know the roto ID of the AP vendor screen, 1200, AP 1200. And the field label for the vendor number is vendor number. And the directory we want to configure against is the vendor number / contracts directory. For this particular configuration, we only need one configuration row, AP 1200, vendor number, network folder, and the folder that we want to configure to is the contracts folder within each vendor, and the value will be replaced by the vendor number. We want to see files and folders. Don't change the tray icon, show the alert, and give it a label vendor contracts. Refresh the tray icon, and then check the AP vendor screen. And we now have our configured document management tray icon, as well as the vendor contracts shown as we open the vendor screen.
Okay, so in 20 minutes, we have configured document management link to move away from physical documents for AP transactions into a digital world. Documents supporting AP invoices can be linked to Sage AP invoice screens. All invoices and contracts are easily available when processing transactions and reviewing vendor details in Sage. In this demonstration, we have configured for specific Sage 300 screens, also known as roto ID, but we can make the documents available whenever the vendor number field is displayed on the screen. For example, you can link the vendor documents when entering purchase orders. You can apply similar approaches to other departments. Document Management Link can be configured around other Sage 300 core screens and third-party modules developed in the SDK. So you can link specific purchase order documents in the PO screens. In this example, we are seeing the individual PO. In the top box, in the middle box, we're seeing all purchase orders for that vendor, and some item-specific documents, or some purchase order-specific documents, such as the original quote for the vendor, etc. We can also configure documents around OE order entry, like customer-related documents, like all previous invoices, item-related documents, like quality assurance documents about the item, pictures about the item, and order-specific information, like the purchase order email from the customer, the order confirmation, the proof of delivery. We can link documents to GL transactions, bank services, etc. And for most of these, the steps are very similar across all departments. And there are 5 key steps. First, we need to identify what documents we want to file and access in Sage 300. Identify the screen in Sage that we want to connect to, and then pick up the 2 field labels that make sense: vendor number, document number, batch number, entry number, order reference. Confirm where they're going to be saved, either a network shared folder, which can be on a file server where as part of the same network where Sage is running, or a synced server like sync with Google Drive or Dropbox or OneDrive, or in SharePoint, in which case you can use the SharePoint security and workflow to build on your document management system. Then we configure document management link in IAM options, the way we've looked at for AP transactions, and then we can test. So for more information about document management link, you can go to the ORCID website and select the document management link page in the Sage add-ons menu. You can also search in the top right for document management link and find relevant blog articles, marketing material, training videos, and other resources focusing on document management link.